In 2012, he was selected by BRW as one of Australia's top 6 leadership thinkers. Earl de Blonville.
How many of you would like to work for a good business leader? Yes, I hope that's a balance and not the same one's voting twice. Have you ever seen the word leader on any desk or door in your company? So why are they called leaders? They're not leaders, they're employees. And this word leader, it's applied to everybody these days, you know, everybody a leader, good, nothing like democracy. That all comes from Forbes magazine in the US in the last 20 years. They thought, how can we sell more magazines? I know, we'll start running lists. We'll have a list of all of the top business leaders in the Fortune 500 company. We'll have a list of all of the top women EAs in the top Fortune 500 companies. We'll have a list here and a list there. And of course, all of a sudden these guys go, whoa, look at that, I'm in Forbes and I'm a leader now. Now, you would be forgiven for thinking like me when I first learned about this guy, that he was a complete nutcase. Well, he was. Professor of psychology at Harvard University. Not only that, but in 2002, the American Psychological Society voted him the most influential psychologist of the 20th century. And he came up with a concept called radical behaviourism. You don't need to remember that, but essentially he turned behaviour into technology. So he said, well, you know, if we're going to be talking about behaviour, we can only measure behaviour that can be measured. That means that thinking, perceptions, emotions and all that other stuff that makes us human isn't behaviour because it can't be measured. This is a man I'd like to introduce you to who was the guiding light behind all of the leadership training programs that have proliferated around the world. But of course, as humans, we know that we are so complex, you cannot possibly even conceive of box ticking as far as human beings are concerned, and yet that's how all these leadership development programs from Harvard and everywhere else, Wharton, wherever you care to name, INSEAD in France, they've all just, you know, as one seed dropped, a forest grew, and they're all the same, and they're all based on the same concept. There are a lot of examples where money is the sole purpose of the business. It sends out an incredibly powerful message to the community at large, and that is, people don't matter. This is not an industry about people. We don't care about people. They're just things you buy, sell, flick off when you're sick of them. Now, of course, money is not a purpose. Money is just a result. And there is no higher purpose in banking. And there's a lot of industries like that who've just been chugged down by a complete lack of higher purpose. But when you have higher purpose, when there is a reason for doing things, that electrifies everybody in the organisation. And it's not hard to find higher purpose, a much better reason for doing things, and that is the characteristic of a post-formal leader. And so we've lost sight of what leadership is, and my doctoral research work is all about asking the question, exactly what is leadership? And how did we get to this state of thinking that everybody's a leader? Now, post-formal leadership is the most evolved way for highly advanced people, highly mature people, to think, develop and lead. This is not the 7 habits, an EQ, get the certificate, get the book, get the t-shirt, get the sticker for the car. It's not none of that stuff. That's all doing this. This is about the continuum of human development and a framework that lets us understand it so that people can become much greater leaders. So tomorrow's world is post-formal. It needs champions with influence. And I believe that you can be the leadership coaches. Here's a clap to you, the leaders of tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Earl. It's just been an absolute pleasure. And what's amazing?
Fantastic and so inspiring. I think there's so many things that I just want to go home and really use and probably go and speak to my boss.
It's been a really fantastic day and I've learned heaps.
I've seen all of those leadership books. In fact, I've read a whole stack of those leadership books, and that 7 Habits for Highly Effective People, I could never finish. I'm going to throw that book out now and never bother reading it again.
I really enjoyed it. It was dynamic, it was out of the box thinking.